America might be the last stand for freedom in the West. If they get what they want and they begin passing speech laws, it's over. I mean that. It does appear that they are really just throwing everything at me, particularly yesterday. I didn't even know which way to look. Happy birthday to me. Good thing I'm built for it. I'm just built differently. Erica didn't just name me and put a target on my back and lie about what I said, but she wasn't the only one, right? We also had congressmen in the House presenting a bipartisan resolution name-checking me. This is the headline in the Times of Israel. Headline on literally April 29th. I couldn't believe this. The U.S. House is considering a resolution condemning Hasan Piker. I've never spoken to that person in my entire life. And Candace Owens for, you got it, guys, anti-Semitism. Who's bringing this forward? Okay, we've got Reps Mike Lauer and Josh Gottheimer. And it's a bipartisan bill to denounce anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric. Though far-left Piker says that the move is making anti-Semitism worse. That is our subheading here. The resolution begins by condemning anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric and content that is disseminated to prominent online personalities, blah, blah, blah. It tells us that whereas the rise of digital media platforms has enabled individuals with large audiences to disseminate disinformation, commentary, and political viewpoints to millions of viewers worldwide, such influence carries a heightened responsibility to avoid rhetoric that promotes hatred, violence, or discrimination against any group, including Jewish individuals and communities. All on the same day, everyone is just suddenly signaling that speech is violence. Speech is now violence. They name check me and says, whereas Candace Owens has employed rhetoric that has included conspiracy theories, accusing Israel of controlling the United States government. By the way, ironically, these two people, both of them who brought this forward, take more than $1 million from AIPAC. Government promoting false claims that Jews are taught by ancient religious texts to hate non-Jews and casting doubt on the truth of Holocaust survivors. I mean, this goes on and on. Of course, I can't defend myself. They can just put whatever they want. It's a resolution. She made the anti-Semitic claim that the United States is controlled by satanic pedophiles who work for Israel. That's not an anti-Semitic claim, okay? Satanic pedophiles working for Israel. We're talking about Epstein and everyone who has defended the Epstein class, okay? That is not explicitly Jewish. In fact, I have been name-checking Christian Zionist pastor after Christian Zionist pastor. So do not put this on, this means you're talking about all Jews, okay? When Donald Trump said, what are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That is when he lost me entirely. To my knowledge, President Trump is not Jewish. That pedophilia is satanic, that a satanic pedophile like Jeffrey Epstein worked for Israel. This is abundantly true. This is not a conspiracy. The fact that you are passing a resolution about me and not the people that protect Jeffrey Epstein says more about you. It then goes on and says that I repeated false claims that Jews are killing Christian children. Where did I say this? Where did I say that Jews are killing Christian children? Where did I say that? Nope, doesn't matter. You can just say whatever you want. It's Congress. This is like filing a lawsuit. You can just put things in there. I don't have to respond to it. This is going to be a part of record. This is going to be a part of U.S. history record as they bring this forth. And I have no opportunity to defend myself or to respond to any of these points. Beyond that, they then bring up, never, ever forget that in July 2024, I did not mention Joseph Mengele. And then they erupted by saying that because I said there was bizarre propaganda that followed the Holocaust, which is true. It is objectively true, okay? I'm going to show you that's objectively true. They insert this in here. Never forget that never forgot was appropriate to say there, that even the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum, which has a podcast, asserted that there were lies told about Joseph Mengele. Not me asserting that. They did an official Holocaust memorial podcast where they discussed where some of the lies and exaggerations came from. It is not a threat to Jewish people to acknowledge that some people lie, okay? That some people misunderstand. I'm going to play it for you. This is the official Holocaust memorial podcast discussing Joseph Mengele, just so you can just read what they are writing and then hear, unless, I don't know, is Auschwitz Memorial Podcast anti-Semitic? I don't know. but take a listen.
I want to note that many myths arose around Mengele in the camp, such as the alleged sewing together of twins, which did not happen, simply because Mengele saw himself as a scientist, a theoretician, a man conducting research. Sewing twins together, as Vera Alexander mentioned, wouldn't make sense from a medical point of view, because Mengele had sufficient medical knowledge, and the medical understanding of the time allowed him to know that it would lead nowhere. So where did this legend come from? It likely originated from the fact that Mengele performed transfusions on twins without prior cross-matching tests. This meant if the donor's blood didn't match the recipient's, it led to death. To perform a transfusion, people had to be connected, not sewn together, but connected with needles and tubes so that the blood could flow. Therefore, this legend about Mengele as someone who sewed children together probably came from this.
I want to be clear why this is important to you guys. And specifically, I want to speak to Jewish Americans because it is just so reminiscent to me of how they wanted to pass hate speech laws in the fog of George Floyd, and they were using race and Black people to try to do this. This is the threat to all of us. Jewish Americans, pay attention because they are using you to push through tyranny. Okay, you are now the person they are using to push through tyranny. They think that you are too stupid to understand the difference between anti-Semitism, normal commentary, and debate. Also, by the way, there is an underlying assumption that you're too weak to deal with people who don't like you. Who cares if people don't like me because I'm Black? I don't actually care. I don't care. If that is your underlying thought process, that every time you see a Black person, you're like, I hate that N-word. I hate N-words all the time. How's that going to impact my day? Why do we care so much about what other people think about us? It's not a little ridiculous. There's just this underlying weakness that allows people who are actually tyrannical, people who are actually doing despicable things, people who actually support the Epstein files and want to protect that network of human traffickers. Okay, they pretend they're the good guys. They find people who are weak, can't take being called names. You can do it. Black people, you can do it. Jews, you can do it. Spanish people, you can do it. Asian people, you can do it. You can handle being called a name as long as you get to remain free. That's more important, okay? They are trying to flip that on its head so they can usher in tyranny. They want Europe. They want what's already happening in Florida. Police showing up on your door asking you if you sent a tweet. Did you criticize Candace Owens today? She's Black. Did you know she's Black? It's racist. I get called the N-word every second of every day. Go on X. I don't care. Doesn't impact my day. I don't know who these people are on the internet. I don't feel threatened by that. Okay? You have a right to think racist thoughts. Now, I happen to genuinely not be a racist. But if people were racist, I understand the importance of making sure that we don't pass speech laws. And that is what is coming next because they have been signaling it for a week straight, full fire. Not just Erica Kirk, also Caroline Leavitt came out and now is trying to equate speech to violence. Take a listen.
This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things. Everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen. And when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things.
Laura Loomer is his top advisor. Like, it's so crazy that they really come out here and they say this unflinchingly after the things that come out of Trump's Truth Social posts. Who is smearing and calling people names and dehumanizing people more, posting photos of me when I'm sick than Donald Trump? Does that now mean that if an act of violence happens, every threat that happens, I get to now say that this is Trump's fault? And again, like I said, it's being echoed everywhere. Melania Trump, she tweeted and said this about Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's joke that happened before the shooting, that it was hateful and violent rhetoric intended to divide our country. Meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt is talking left versus right. Is that not divisive? His monologue about my family is not comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. Does she know who she's married to? Maybe she doesn't. She might not know. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. This is laying the ground, ladies and gentlemen, for speech laws. They shouldn't have the opportunity. She's pretending it's about Jimmy Kimmel. You start with Jimmy Kimmel. If we don't defend Jimmy Kimmel, which makes me physically sick, I don't want to defend Jimmy Kimmel, but I know how it goes. You start outward, you pretend it's legitimate. Trump survived, it's assassination. We have to quick in the chaos. We have to just get these speech laws passed. And then they come inward. And they come inward. And they come inward. And then it's like grandma tweeted that this person was ugly. And suddenly you've got people knocking on your door. We can't have that. You know who was very opposed to that? Charlie Kirk was. I tweeted this, and I'm glad to see that it's trending. Here is his tweet about alleged hate speech, hateful rhetoric, said another way. He wrote on May 2nd, 2024, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. That was his voice. I echo that sentiment. Charlie laughed at people when they made jokes of him, notoriously laughed. When South Park dedicated an entire episode referring to him as the master debater, he cared deeply about allowing people to critique him, allowing people to come and debate him, and winning those debates. And if he lost those debates, which I think never happened, he knew that that meant that he didn't have the stronger argument. So yeah, I agree. Keep America free. So why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why do they want to come for our speech? Because they view us, independent media, people that have kept the Epstein story alive, people that said, we're not accepting the Fed slop narrative regarding Charlie Kirk. He's trending every day on Twitter. We are almost 8 months into this thing, and Charlie Kirk is still trending on Twitter, and they wanted this to go away. At the moment that Erica said, I forgive him, they wanted us to forgive him and move on, referring to Tyler Robinson. We to them are the storied barbarians at the gate. How do we control this? We have built ourselves a mini empire. We control the media apparatus. We control the schools. And now we've got people pulling their kids out of school, talking about homeschooling, understanding how we lie for the first time, not looking left or right, but looking up and down, realizing how despicable these people are. That, yes, of course, we are morally above them, not falling for their tricks about racism, sexism, antisemitism, locking arms, and realizing we actually don't hate each other. What we hate is this corruption. And it exists on the left, on the right, all across the Western Hemisphere. There is nothing but corruption. And America might be the last stand for freedom in the West. If they get what they want and they begin passing speech laws, it's over. I mean that. So wake up, understand what's happening, reject it, right? Use your platform if you have one to speak out against it. Write to your congressman, if the rare ones that perhaps are not bought and paid for. And if you have an opportunity to subpoena people for truth, maybe take it. Maybe take it.